Well, the general election is coming up, folks. November 5th is barreling at us like a freight train. And there's a lot on the line in these elections. If you are pro-gun, if you're pro-Second Amendment, pro-family, pro-life, pro-closed borders, you're not in favor of having your vote getting watered down by criminal aliens. If you are pro-conservative America, you're going to want to watch this video. I'm Chris Dorr. I'm the director here for Pennsylvania Firearms Association. And your district, House District 137, right there in Northampton County, is one of the most important elections in this entire 2024 Pennsylvania election cycle. And the reason why is simple. It's because whichever party wins this, Republicans or Democrats, that party is likely going to be the party that controls the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. Currently, the Democrats control it. And they control it by a one-seat majority at the moment. They are trying to flip more so they have more power to move their agenda forward. At the same time, they're trying to flip the Pennsylvania Senate to a Democrat majority from a Republican majority so that the Democrat agenda going forward is the only one that is considered. And if you are a gun owner or a gun voter, that is a big cause for concern to you. We're going to go through both of these candidates right now. First of all, we're going to take a look at Joe Emrick. He is the Republican incumbent, and we're going to start with him because he has votes that we can look at objectively. And then we're going to switch over to Democrat Anna Thomas, who is the Democrat challenger running to unseat him and flip this district to the blue category. So let's bounce back to Joe Emrick first, and I'll direct your attention to the whiteboard. This is kind of like the universe of political reality when it comes to gun politics in Pennsylvania. This is a smattering of the issues that they are going to face if they get elected. So let's talk about Joe Emrick here first and foremost. I'm going to put an I next to his name because he is the incumbent. We'll have that as the official moniker right there. So the thing about Joe Emrick is we have votes that we can look for. A lot of legislators, a lot of candidates when they're campaigning at election time, they promise you the moon, but then once they get in there, they develop some kind of electoral amnesia, and they forget to do the things they promised they were going to do. That is not the case with Joe Emrick, and I'm going to get out my green pencil color here to start going through this. First of all, we're going to take a look at some of the bills that he has voted yes on. So first and foremost, he voted yes on constitutional carry. This is a fantastic gun rights bill. What it does is it simply gets government out of the rights regulation business when it comes to carrying a firearm for self-defense of yourself or your family. This is the law in 29 different states already. Joe Emrick, the moment that thing came to the floor, he voted yes on that. That's fantastic news. He also voted yes on preemption reform. We've got this problem here in Pennsylvania where some of these big city mayors are getting a little too big for their britches, and they are passing local gun control ordinances and restrictions at the local level in an effort to kind of create a patchwork of gun laws that vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, township to township, etc. That can't happen. Pennsylvania has a law that preempts them from doing that. These people are doing it anyway. Preemption reform, Joe Emrick voted for that. It simply got that problem under control. That was a fantastic thing. I think both of these bills were passed out of the House back in 2022, early 2022 or late 2021, but they were both vetoed by then Governor Tom Wolf. He voted yes on restricting the governor's power during emergencies and preventing the governor, no matter if it's a Republican or Democrat, stopping them from locking down firearm sales during times of emergency. We can look back just only a little while ago during the Tennessee hurricane floods where people were going door to door looting in some of those neighborhoods. Those are in times of emergency. Oftentimes that's when you need a firearm the most. And a lot of people remember what happened during Hurricane Katrina as an example of that. He also voted for armed security in schools. This one seems common sense to so many people. Schools are where we send our most valuable possessions on the daily. And it just makes sense. You got a lot of these veterans and stuff out there, qualified people who want to be able to defend our students, off-duty officers, on-duty officers. It doesn't really matter. Those are kids. They can't defend themselves from violent criminals who disregard the gun-free zone signs. He voted for that. Joe Emrick has a great record on voting for pro-gun stuff. He also voted no on red flag gun confiscation, and universal gun registration, folks. I'm going to talk about both of those bills when I talk about Anna Thomas, but and I'll break those down a little bit further. But those are both gun control bills. So with Joe Emrick, you've got a Republican incumbent, somebody who's been in there already for a while, and he's got a perfect voting record, both on the pro-gun side and on the gun control side. He voted for common sense the entire time, voted for gun rights, uphold the Constitution. That's what you get when you get Joe Emrick right there. So that's a fantastic. I just gave him an A grade. I think he's earned it with that kind of a voting record. I'm going to switch over to Anna Thomas now. Whoops. I need to switch my pencil color here to red. So we're going to talk about Anna Thomas here. She's the Democrat challenger. And the first thing we always look at when we look at some of these people is, okay, who's endorsing them? Who's getting behind their campaigns? Who's funneling money at them to try to get them reelected? And the first one that you see here is Ceasefire PA. This is one of the nastiest gun control organizations in Pennsylvania. And what they specialize in doing is hauling in people into the state capitol building whenever they have gun control hearings. And they get these people to testify to take away your guns. Meanwhile, the people that they bring in there usually were often involved in gang violence themselves. But they want to come in there and blame you and me for their problems. So Ceasefire PA endorsed Anna Thomas. That's the first red flag that gets brought up. So I'm going to give her an X on that one. Speaking of red flags, red flag gun confiscation. Anna Thomas wants to pass red flag gun confiscation, the same one that they voted on earlier this year. Red flag gun confiscation is simply the destruction of due process rights for gun owners. It allows anybody to petition a judge to take away your guns without you ever being charged, tried, or convicted of a crime. And they can enter as evidence in these ex parte hearings where you're not even allowed to be there, by the way. They can enter as evidence the fact that you just purchased a firearm as an excuse, as justification for the judge to take that firearm away from you. Anna Thomas wants it so that if you exercise your Second Amendment rights, that's justifiable cause to take those rights away. That's insane. But that's Anna Thomas. She gets another red X for that one. Same with statewide gun registry or gun registration. They want to be able to track, trace, and register gun owners like sex offenders. They want the state to be able to see who owns what guns. And the only reason for that is gun confiscation. And this isn't just me talking. You can go back and listen to everything that they've been talking about on the debate stage lately, like Kamala Harris, she's open about it. Joe Biden is open about it. Beto O'Rourke back in 2000, and I guess it was 2020 or 2016 maybe. Yeah, it's 2016. Beto O'Rourke stood there on the debate stage back when the Democrats used to still go through the primary process. And he stood there and said, hell yes, we're going to take your guns. No, you're not. But the only way they can do that is if they know who owns what guns. That's what statewide gun registration is all about. That's what Anna Thomas wants to pass. And it's absolutely draconian tyranny. She also supports undoing what Joe Emrick did, which was this one right over here. She wants to give the governor the power to suspend the Second Amendment during times of emergencies. Or the Pennsylvania Constitution as well. That's insane. That's insane. Criminals don't follow these kinds of stupid laws. By the way, all of these gun control proposals that she supports, they're all already on the books in places like Chicago. And you don't see people hauling their families to Chicago every summer for family vacations. Why? It's because that place is a war zone every time it's above 70 degrees out. So she also supports, I got to give the X there. She also supports banning semi-automatic firearms. Folks, this goes way beyond what the normal talking points of the radical left are. She doesn't want to just ban AR-15. She wants to ban semi-automatic firearms as if there's some kind of a machine gun. But it's not just AR-15s. She wants to ban Ruger 1022s and Marlin Model 60s and Remington 1187 12-gauge shotguns. And absolutely wants to ban all of the Glock 19s or Glock 43Xs that people carry to defend themselves and their loved ones from violent thugs and criminals. So that's a mark against her. She also supports mandatory gun buybacks, aka gun confiscation. Mandatory gun backs are gun confiscation. And I've seen some of the dollar amounts that they're throwing around out there. They want to pass these to try to legitimize their tyranny. So they want to be able to knock on your door using that statewide gun registry and say, hey, we know that you have, this, a BCM AR-15. Here's a check for $250. This is your mandatory gun buyback. And if you don't give that to us, you're going to be arrested. That's what mandatory gun buybacks are. They're not. And by the way, the check that they're going to write you, that's your own tax dollars being given back to you for the firearm. So that's what Anna Thomas supports all of this. We're talking about this person. She's the Democrat challenger here. She's trying to unseat Joe Emrick right there in House District 137, Northampton County. Here's another thing she supports: government gun lockups. Now, Kamala Harris was just outed. We just dug up a video on her a couple of weeks ago. Kamala Harris said it herself. She's like, the whole purpose of these, they call it safe storage laws. The whole purpose of these government gun lockup bills is so that they can invade the sanctity of your home. That's Kamala Harris's words, not mine. And inspect your firearms to make sure that you are storing them in a way that they deem fit or proper or necessary. Now, keep in mind, this is the same party that left billions of dollars worth of real military weapons on the streets of Afghanistan, and also the same party that sold fully automatic machine guns to the Mexican drug cartels during the Obama years under Fast and Furious. Those machine guns were then used on American citizens and Border Patrol agents. Just Google Brian Terry. But these are all, this isn't even a comprehensive list here, but I think this is enough to show the point here. Anna Thomas, she's not just a limousine liberal, guns for me, but not for thee. No, she wants to totally destroy individual firearms ownership in Pennsylvania. This statewide gun registration, by the way, it totally outlaws, this is what she wants to pass, it totally outlaws the private sale of firearms between two people. Okay? And then also, if you want to just like give your guns to your kids, that's not allowed anymore under what Anna Thomas wants to do. If you want to like give your kids firearms as part of their inheritance, they would have to go into their local law enforcement office and register those guns with the state. So that's what Anna Thomas wants to do. There's no moderation there. She's a hardcore radical left activist when it comes to this gun control agenda. And we thought you guys needed to know this. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of suggestions here. If you see Joe Emrick on the campaign trail, thank him for walking the talk. There's even a lot of Republicans in Harrisburg who say one thing at election time and do something totally different once they get in there. Not Joe Emrick. He's got an excellent voting record. He's been correct every single time. And that's a fantastic thing. So you can thank him if you see him on the campaign trail. If you see this lady right here, Anna Thomas, all right, if you see her, tell her that this is Pennsylvania and that it's not England and it's not 1940s Germany or Italy or Japan. This is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the birthplace of freedom. It's not the harbinger of tyranny that they want it to be. It never will be. And that stuff has no place here in a free society like Pennsylvania. Certainly not in Northampton County. Come on, get the heck out of here with that crap. Okay, last but not least, please share this video with all of your pro-gun friends, family, loved ones, co-workers, church family. Don't share it with your anti-gun friends if you have any of those. They just get all upset and they can't think straight because they're emotionally conditioned. And then on November 5th, round up all of those friends, head down to your polls and vote pro-gun.